So first thing first, in this video I'm going to show you how to make the engine, and I'm not going to show you how to create a project because I assume you all know that. So to create the engine, first we need to create some helper. So like the constant, this is the helper, and in this constant file I'm gonna declare the base URL and the version, and this is the Apple recommended way to create a constant file. So why I'm creating this, because if you change it from here, it will be changed everywhere in the file. So it's better to keep it in one place rather than scattered way. So the base URL and the version is like this. Next, I'm gonna declare a logger. This will help us to debug much more efficient way. You can use the default print statement, but I would customize it a little bit to enhance debugging more. So this first log and the second log, this will just print whatever you throw it, but the next log, which is a log request, it will help you to see the parameters which you are throwing at time of creating a request. Next, the log JSON, it will help you to see the pre-printed JSON. And the final log, this is a log decode JSON. This will help you to see the decoded JSON response. This decoded JSON response and the log JSON effectively are same if the request is successful. But if the request is unsuccessful, or if there is any decoding error, then here you will see a much more precise message that where things gone wrong. So you will see it in the implementation, then it will make much more sense. Now let's see what we have done in the HTTP client. This is the engine, actual engine. So here I have created a base folder and some files. So let's see what's inside the base folder. First, we need to declare the method, and I have declared an enum. Here we have declared the common methods like get, post, put, delete. You can add more if you want based on your need. So this is an enum. Next, we need to declare a protocol, and this is, I have called it an endpoint. The endpoint is, while you make a request, you need to have some things like the path, method, parameter, body, header. This is the absolute necessary things. So here I have declared this in a protocol. Whichever class or enum will implement this, it has to implement the declaration. Here is just pure declaration, no implementation. Next, I have created an API error. These are the common errors you could get while making an API call. You can customize it based on your need. So now with these things, we need to create a request builder. This request builder will return us a URL request. So with the help of the URL request, we will download the data. But first, let's see how we are making the URL request. The URL request actually consists of multiple things. The actual URL, the method, header, body, lots of things. But the URL itself is a complex thing. And so to make the URL, let's see what we have done. Here I have created another function, and in that function, we have passed the endpoint which we have created. Both the make request and the make URL need the same endpoint. So let's see in the endpoint, with the help of the endpoint, how we are creating the actual URL. So this is the function to make for the URL. So a URL consists of lots of things. Like first, we need to declare the URL component, and the components which needed is scheme, host, path. In the scheme, you need to declare the protocol, which is HTTPS. And in the host, we are declaring the base URL, which we have declared in our constant file. So if you change something in your constant file, it will be reflected everywhere in your API call. Next, we need to create the path. So in the path, we have the version and we have the actual path. So remember, this path is coming from the endpoint. So with this, we are constructing the path. Also, in the URL, you need to add the parameter if there is any parameter. So here you can see the parameter is optional. So there might be parameter or there might not be parameter. So if there is parameter, then we will add it in the query item. But if there is no parameter, then that's fine. It will just skip. Next, if there is any error constructing the URL, then it will throw the error message. Otherwise, it will give us the URL return. So with the help of the URL, now we need to create a URL request. So here we are declaring a URL request with the help of the URL. And also, if you see the Postman, this is the protocol, this is the base URL, this is the version, and this is the path, and these are the parameter which makes a complete URL. But to make an URL request, we need to have further things, which is a method and a header and a body. So all these things are coming from the endpoint. So as you can remember, we have declared the method in the endpoint, also header and body. Both header and body, these are optional. So if the header is there, then it will add the headers, and if the body is there, it will add the body here. Also, if you check in Postman, this is the parameter, these are the headers, and this is the body. So if you have these things, it will construct the URL request, and that's how we will build the request builder. So next step. With the help of the request builder, we are going to download the actual data, and we are going to do it with the URL session. To do that, first we declared a protocol. The protocol is just a declaration, it's not implementation. So what we need, with the help of our URL request, which we have built just a few moments earlier, we will create a request and we want a data back. So that's how we want in our declaration. To implement that, we will use the URL session. We are not using any third-party library like Almofire or Moya or something like that. We are using pure URL session. So we are extending that. Now, as you can see in the implementation, we need to declare a tuple, the data, and the response. And this cells refer to the URL session.shared. So let's check what we will get in the data. In the data, we will get the data and URL response. So here we are getting the data and the response. And first we will check the response. If there is any response, then we will go further. But if there is no response, we will check it using a guard statement. And we will throw an error if there is no response or if there is any error in the response. But if there is no error in the response, we will check the status code. So the status code from 200 to 300, this is the valid status code range. So we are checking everything inside the valid status code range. So if it is in between the success range, we will return the data. Otherwise, we will throw an error and we will say that from this error code, status code, we are getting an error. So here, using this data downloader, we are actually downloading only the data. We are not decoding it or we are not doing anything yet. We are just downloading the raw data. So now we have created a request builder and we have created a function to download the data. Now let's go further. Now we are creating a client, and the client, it will with the help of the request builder and with the downloader, it will download the actual data. But here we have declared another variable, which is a decoder, because after downloading the data we need to decode the data to use it. So that's why we have declared this decoder variable. So in the init method, you can see we are initializing the request builder, and also we are passing the URL session shared to download the data. So here we are extending the HTTP client. The first method, you can see if we have to pass an endpoint, and it will give us the data. So when we will pass the endpoint, it will with the help of the endpoint, it will make an URL request, and with the URL request it will download the data. But this is not decoding anything. But in the next function, you can see we are passing generics. So effectively this is the same thing, but the next function, this is decoding the data. So here I have created a decoder helper. This is actually the basic decoder function, but we are passing a generic here. So whichever data you will pass it in this function, it will decode it, and it will make a data model exactly like that. So here we are passing the same generic here, and it will decode the same data here, and it will try to decode exactly the same data, and if it is successful, then it will return the same model. But if it is unsuccessful, it will tell us why it is unsuccessful. If the key is mismatched, or type mismatch, or value is not found, whatever the error is, it will give us the exact error. So yeah, this is the actual engine. You don't need to create it again and again. You just need to create it once, and then you can reuse it as much as you want. In the next video, we will see how we can use this client.